Our first speaker today is going to be Ivan Morgunov. He is actually the CEO for Unlimited Bio. For over a decade, Ivan has led advancements in aging research, founding Longevous Technologies and Unlimited Bio. Ivan's leadership has built strategics, collaborations, and achieved milestones, scaling progress in longevity science to protect life and health, our most precious assets. And he's going to be talking to us today about the synergy strategy, combining gene therapies for maximum impact. Please help me welcome Ivan right here.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for Jim, Joe, Jean, and all the team of People Unlimited for this opportunity. It's really amazing what you guys have here. I haven't seen something like that, what I have seen yesterday, what I see today. And I believe that real longevity community, like all the community, should be like yours, like longevity-oriented, life-oriented, and aliveness-oriented. It's so important, and I believe that this place, like Scottsdale, I haven't heard about Scottsdale before, to be honest, because I'm not from America, but it's so amazing that it's happening here. Like, obviously, I heard about Phoenix, I heard about Arizona, but yeah. And what you have built here, it shows that it can be built all around the globe, right? And it should be built all around the globe. So I wanted just to share it in the beginning, my reflection for the yesterday talk of Jim, and it's so cool. Okay, let's get to the topic of our today's conversation. I just want to start with basics, so to make sure that we're all on the same page. What is gene therapy? Probably you have heard, but let's give some definition to it. So it's a treatment that delivers a genetic instruction into your cells, so they produce therapeutic proteins themselves over weeks, months, or even years. And I have a question to you guys, like, who have taken gene therapies? Please raise your hand so far. Okay, assuming you have been convinced on safety of gene therapy and it would be affordable, would you try gene therapy? Please raise your hand. Okay, okay, cool. So let's go further for it. Why gene therapy if we already have peptides or other type of therapies? It's an open question. I wouldn't say that gene therapies are better than peptides or better than other therapies. I think those are different tools, and each tool, like hammer, it works good for nails, right? So each tool should work for its specific purpose. That's why we must understand that it's not just for like ultimate solution. It's just a tool in our hand that can build some part of our longevity strategy for us. And to understand it better, to compare with the peptides, I picked an example of follistatin. So follistatin, it's I saw even on Radfair some companies who have been offering follistatin peptides, and they're quite affordable. What's the difference? Why do we need? In which case we need gene therapy? In which case we can use peptides? So peptide follistatin could be used if you just want to try it for like few weeks or something like that and see how it works. The problem with peptides, especially follistatin, that it has a really short half-life in our blood. So if you get it, it takes just a couple hours, and after it's gone. So, and for some specific things, we need a long-term expression or long-term stay in our blood of these specific proteins. So if you want to produce it and build a fabric in our body and keep this follistatin be expressed long-term, so in this case, we need a gene therapy. And like issues that we have with, for example, with follistatin, that if you want to keep taking it, you have to take it every 2 hours, and it's in form of injection, so it's not really easy to go for it. But I know some people work to build a more advanced versions of follistatin peptide, so it stays in our blood for a week, more stable versions. So it also might be a tool. So it's important to understand these differences. And another difference that's very important to understand, there are different types of gene therapies. There are many of them, but I would just stop here on two types, viral or non-viral. It's also multiple types of viral gene therapy and non-viral gene therapies. But the main examples that we have on the field, and few companies now in the field, they're offering gene therapies. The one that's most common for viral form is adeno-associated virus, or AAV. And non-viral vector, most common is a form of plasmid. So our company works, for example, in both directions, plasmid and AAV. But some companies, for example, like BioViewer, we know that they offer just AAVs. We partnered with BioViewer, we're good friends. And we know some companies like MiniCircle, for example, they present on RADFest, they present just the plasmid-based therapies. And it's not good and bad again, it's just pros and cons in each of them. It's important to understand. So what should we know about viral vectors? Just a quick question to you guys. Who has a biological degree in the room, or consider the level of knowledge on the level of like biological degree? Okay, cool. So I keep saying very simple terms. And so what should we know, how to understand difference between viral and non-viral? So viral actually, it actually exists, the virus, adeno-associated virus exists in the nature, and it's real virus. So what scientists have done, they just took this virus and used its advantages to deliver, to get into the cells, because with evolution, those viruses already learned through thousands of years how to get exactly where they need to get. So what scientists have done with these viruses, they just took this virus, took all the, let's say, viral part, we don't get into details, and put the gene of interest, like follistatin, into it. So this gene, they use viral, property to get it into the cells, but it works for us in this case. It's how AAV, if by simple work to explain how AAV works. But in this case, also our immune system learned how to counteract against viruses. So it's also when we go, let's say, when we go for in direction of AAVs, we have to deal with our immune system and how it responds. There are some specific techniques to it, but we have to consider. And our immune system, let's say, responds less to the plasmid gene therapy, so it's considered, plasmid gene therapy is considered more safe but less efficient. But viral vectors like AAVs are normally more efficient, but they have some risk associated with taking that we have to consider when we go for that. Okay, so and then another important thing that I would like to mention that's also important to understand, that some proteins, they main properties active inside the cells. And some proteins, they are fine to stay outside of the cells. That's why I have this also classification for you guys to understand. For example, HTORT, it's a gene, it's quite known, people have been talking about it. It's a gene that extends your telomere length. But we want our telomeres to be extended in each cell of our body. We don't want like 5% of our cell to get telomeres extended and all the rest stays with the shorter telomeres. So in this case, if you go for gene therapy for HTORT, we have to go for really high dosages, so the gene gets into each cell. And some other genes like follistatin, closo, or VEGF, they're active outside the cells because they're signaling proteins. So it's enough, in this case, we can use smaller dosages. But of course, we have to consider both approaches, and we have to extend our telomeres. But we have to, like in our case, we prefer to prioritize the lower dosage gene therapies, like with signal proteins, but we also want to get for HTORT and PCG1 alpha, for example, in the future. It's in our pipeline, and we have to get there in the future, but it's associated with higher risk. And of course, some people have done it already, and you know about it. Okay, so it was basics. Like I think I just wanted. It's not about the company what we do, but I felt that we should explain those things for you, so you have some knowledge that you can use further in your life when you interact with all these companies and gene therapies. Okay, what about Unlimited Bio? We're a relatively new company. I have founded a biotech company that's UK-based biotech company that acts within classical regulations. And while I have been involved in working on that company, I understood that It goes too slow for myself because I'm very mission driven. I watch self-aging while I'm still alive and people whom I love. So I'm not satisfied with the classical regulation speed. So, and we have built really cool technologies that restores elasticity, tissue elasticity, and it restored elasticity of aorta in mice, but we still we have been working on it for a few years in my other company, and we're still a few years away from giving it to first human. And I mean, like, it takes too long, and understand that we need dozens of therapies. To do something significant about aging, probably we'll have to build, like, I don't know, 100 therapies or like hundreds of therapies, because as I understand, aging is so complex. So we need to accelerate, and our vision is to accumulate 100 therapy portfolio within 10 years under one umbrella through partnering with other companies. And as I mentioned, we partnered with BioViva, and we do our best to partner with other companies who have different technologies. We're not going to solve aging by ourselves. I think it's like a community effort, right? And so getting back to the timeline of our company, so we launched our first gene therapy. It's VEGF. I will speak about it in the moment. It was just the first step to see how it works outside of classical regulations. If we can really launch therapies outside of the classical regulation, and this year we're aiming to bring few therapies more to market as well to make it, just to understand the broader strategy of our company, how it goes. Of course, like many people have been talking about these cases that regulations limit us, and we agree with that, and I don't want to stop here much because it has been discussed already quite commonly. So that's how we came to Prospera. It's a special economic zone on the island of Honduras. I heard about it actually like just a couple years ago, and I got so like inspired that people do clinical trials for gene therapies, not for a disease, but with one goal for human enhancement, and got so inspired by that. So I traveled there to explore together with my current co-founder, Anna, who's here as well. So we ended up like founding Unlimited Bio. It was our first location. Now we work with Holistic Care, the guys who will present today. Later today, they will be our another location in Mexico, in Tijuana, to make these therapies affordable for people from the West Coast, because Honduras is more closer for the East Coast and Miami travel. Yeah. Okay, what about our first gene therapy? It's VEGF, or vascular endothelial growth factor. Who have heard about it? Could you raise your hand? Probably it's not very common, like people haven't heard about it much. Okay, so you will understand it better. So this gene is responsible for formation of new blood vessels in our body, new capillaries, tiny capillaries. You have like, I don't know, millions of these capillaries that goes into like almost each cell and each tissue and bring all this nutrition, oxygen, like to your cells. And you see that this capillary net declines with age. So you can see that 20 years person has a really higher amount of these capillaries, and while people age, they just slowly decline and they have less capillaries. This picture took from skin of people, but it's all around our body in all tissues. And the cool thing about this gene that it has been shown in studies on mice that it has multiple positive effects. For example, it prevented muscle loss. It prevents accumulation of abdominal fat. It's increased bone mass, and of course, it's extended mice lifespan up to 50%, something like that. And it's actually VEGF. It's not well known. Well, not like so. Like people doesn't know much about this gene, but it's actually one of the best result for mice lifespan extension that have been done ever. I think it's on top 5 or top 10, something like that. And of course, like it's as I mentioned, it's through all our body, but how we perform, how we act, it's our muscle. And while we age, we just have fewer capillaries per fiber of our muscle. And as I mentioned before, it seems logical because we can take as many like supplements and nutrition to ourselves, but it's not, if it's not well delivered to each of our cells and tissues, it doesn't work. So you can take as much supplements, but if not get delivered to the specific cell, it doesn't matter. And so I'm personally, it's not like really scientific, but I see it like that it's like kind of upgrade the delivery system that slowly declines with age. Like, it's like building new highways for our cells and tissues. Like if now we have a really perfect highways here around the city, but if we don't have it, we can't, like Uber wouldn't work with deliveries, right? So we need to rebuild this capillary system in our body. And the cool thing about this gene therapy, why I really love it, and it was so great opportunity for us to bring it to Latin America, that actually this gene therapy was approved in Russia back in 2011 for lower limb ischemia. I think in America they say it like peripheral arterial disease. So a disease when blood supply, like the capillaries decline in people's leg, and it leads to surgery or even to amputation. People feel it, they start feeling pain when they walk, and this drug worked there. And since 2011, more than 10,000 people have taken it. So it actually was like one of the first gene therapy approved. It was the second gene therapy approved worldwide. And so we partnered with the company who built it. We licensed it from them to bring it to Latin America. And the cool thing about this, they have gathered already a bunch of data from these 10,000 people who have taken it there. So we can see that capillaries really grow from this gene therapy before and 6 months after. And they have data with people with this disease. So I know a friend of mine, he had this disease. And I remember, I didn't know that he had this disease, but I remember it like when I started to work with it, that we just was walking like 5-10 meters. And he was stopping and say, hey, I need to rest, I can't walk, like I have a pain. Sometimes he was fine, but sometimes he just wasn't able to walk. And it's terrible to live this type of life. And we see in statistics that some people have averaged like 30 meters of walk. And after the treatment, they was getting like 220 to 200 and few hundred meters. They literally was able to start walking again. So we know that this therapy works, at least in people with the disease. It's very important for the therapy. And of course, what is exciting, and the most exciting about all this gene therapy, because many people, they have a safety concern. They have a safety concern about gene therapy, how risky is it? And this gene therapy has the most well-studied safety profile among all the gene therapy, because 10,000 people have taken it on really long term. So we know that if something would be wrong with this gene therapy in 5 or 10 years, we would already know about it. So this gene therapy have long-term safety profile, and they have done follow-up with these patients. They don't have cancers, or they don't have other diseases. They have published all this study 5 years after the market it got to market. It's very exciting. But of course, with this therapy, we open, it's not FDA approved so far. They're working on it, and probably maybe it will be approved like in 5 years or something like that. It will be open for people here in the US. But now in the US, people just have an option with surgery or symptomatic treatment, or they have, if they don't care about it, if they they just lose their leg, and it's terrible. But yeah, we open it, of course, not for everyone is comfortable to travel outside of the US. For many, it's not covered by insurers, but it's still option that we're opening with this for patients with peripheral arterial disease. But it's not our goal. We are a longevity company, just a side effect what we do, right? To give some people with disease opportunity. We want to prevent people from getting this disease, because all these capillaries, they decline while people age. So we want to start giving this therapy for people before disease. And this prevention indication, we can't do in Russia. We can't do in America ever, because the system works the way that we have to wait for people to get the disease, and after the doctor can prescribe them the treatment. But in Latin America, we can do that. People can come and do prevention treatment. So we do currently 2 types of use for this therapy. We do from muscle and topical in scalp, like a PRP injections. So the first one to increase endurance and strength. and of course to prevent this age-related capillary loss. And for hair quality, so in my case it's already late stage of alopecia, but minoxidil, the one that they use in initial hair loss, it's actually target VEGF target, it's the main, but minoxidil has a multiple like side effects. So in my case, it's too late to use. It's not going to bring my, because I lost my hair like 10 years ago. But if I started to do this therapy 10 years ago when I had this company, maybe I wouldn't lose my hair. But now I can still do like hair transplant and enhance the effect. Or for people who experience early hair loss, they still can go for it. And also to improve hair quality, because while we age, and I literally measure it in my head, so I lost my hair on the top of my head, and I still have a hair here, and we measured it with capillary scope, the device that measures capillaries. So I still have capillaries all around here, but I don't have it on top. Really, yeah, it was interesting, but we expected that. And yeah, there are multiple benefits if you just go for intramuscular multiple injection into muscle. And yeah, it can increase VO2 max if you care about it, but just what people feel, they just can, if they have more motivation to exercise, they can go to the gym, or like they can walk without tiredness longer. Like my partner who got it, our third partner, he wasn't able to come, unfortunately, but he got it and he said, I can walk much longer than I was before, but he's still young. In young population, we don't expect such a significant effect because our capillaries still haven't declined that much, but in elderly people, we expect it to have a more significant effect. And of course, yeah, capillary pair to fiber ratio really matters in VO2 max if you care about it, but in VO2 max is really like really cool longevity biomarkers that really affect our lives. And potential VEGF hair effects, it's also like we have discussed it a bit. Here you can see another example, very cool example, that follicle size before and after in mice, VEGF transgenic mice, but that follicles of these mice have been increased significantly, and it's just not for the hair dense amount of hair follicles, is just it make your hair younger. Yeah. So it was briefly about VEGF. It's our first, it's just one gene therapy. I don't say that it can solve aging or whatever. I believe, and many people overestimate the therapies that they do. Like they just pick one therapy and they start telling about it like it will solve aging. I don't think so. I think we need like dozens of therapy, and maybe I'm too optimistic about it. Maybe we'll need hundreds. I believe that it's very complex, but we can still have technologies and can build the solution for it. That's why our goal to bring 100 therapies, and let's talk how our vision works, how we can combine multiple therapies together. It's just a vision, but it's important vision to understand where we go within the next 10, 20 years, like to understand the strategy. So many people, they go for like biomarkers that they can see in blood, you know, like some blood test or whatever. Me personally, like it's very important for the work to understand better. But me as an individual, I always asking myself, what is aging for myself? Like how, like now I'm 37-year-old. What differs me now from what I was 27-year-old? Or what differs me when I will be 47-year-old? Like, what is aging for me? How do I age? We still see like the difference sometimes, like what differs us. And I don't really care about like some blood biomarkers that just scientists can just see. Like me personally, for science it's very important, right? But for me personally, like as an individual, I don't care about the biomarkers that some scientists just can see under microscope. Like how it affects me. It's interesting, it's some data, but I really affect how my physical cognition, how fast I think, how fast I can learn new languages. Can I still learn languages as I was young? Like my immune function, how do I respond to new pathogens? Like some people, like elderly people, they suffer more from COVID, and young people, they just don't care. They just next day they out after they get infected by COVID. And aesthetic, how do I look like? How my posture, like how like my hair, right? So so we divided it on like hallmarks of aging from our side. There's concept of hallmark of aging from scientific part, but from our individual. Like as we are customer of our own company, like we disassemble it, or like for those components: cognitive decline, immune decline, metabolic decline, cardiovascular decline, muscle function decline, aesthetic decline. So let's go for each of them. So for each of these directions, we should build multiple therapies to have a synergetic effect together. And so I mentioned good capillarization is goal second one here. But also we can use follistatin for muscle mass. We still have to, for metabolic improvement in muscle function, we still have to do like VEGF, follistatin. We still have to do something with mitochondria. There are multiple options. There was, I'm not sure you guys heard about it, but it's just the last year, some guy first in the history got mitochondria injected into his venous, and it was like 90 plus guy. So it was first case when people started injecting mitochondria to people. We considering two approaches here. I mentioned PGC1 alpha. It's a gene therapy, but it needs a high dose for that. And also oraltin A, I'm not sure if you guys heard about it. Oraltin A, it's a supplement that also can be beneficial for mitochondria. So it's not necessary to be just gene therapies. We can use other type of instruments, that as I mentioned before. And BDNF, it's a gene that's also in our pipeline. It's a gene that builds connections between our neurons. So it's important for cognitive function, and we can use it there. But also, you know that all this, we have all these neuromuscular junctions that connect our neurons to our muscle, and these connections decline with age slowly. So we not just lose the muscles while we age. We lose connection, neural connection to our brain, and we control it less. And it's also one of the problems. But we'll just not that many people realize it. But so we have to push multiple buttons simultaneously. And it's one example how we can affect metabolic and muscle function decline. And I don't think that it's just the one how we can do it. Maybe we will need 5 more or something, some unknowns that we have. And cognitive and cardiovascular decline. So we have to go for neuroprotection. Again, excellent blood vessels are important for cognition as well. We have to get rid of harmful proteins with autophagy or some other type of approaches. Vaccination is very important. I know that many people like against vaccination. We in the company, we believe that we try to vaccinate ourselves from whatever is possible, and we believe that it's a good thing. Even Anna, my co-founder, she has been developing vaccines. She has developed COVID vaccine, some other type of vaccines. And we believe that we have to not believe, we know that from the science behind it, that vaccination prevents people from getting cognitive decline earlier because of they don't suffer much from this disease, so they don't get much inflammation, and inflammation is very, very harmful for our brains. That's how, and of course, microbiota is a direction to be explored as well. For immune function, we can go for thymic involution. You know, Greg Fahey with his company works a lot about it, and it's a very important job. And also a lot of components for that. We can discuss it maybe after my talk. And coming back for the combinations that we go for now, it's VEGF that already we have. Now we aim to bring 3 more genes. Follistatin is the next one that we are bringing, and we believe it can have a really beneficial effect with closer and BDNF to push the buttons, all these buttons simultaneously at least, and we might add some other stuff. But why we started with gene therapies? Because we think it's easier. It's not easy. If we have, like, let's say, some supplements in our pipeline, it's more difficult to add gene therapy because it's more complex. But when in core we build gene therapies, it's much easier to keep adding to it simpler interventions that's already available, like supplements or like, I don't know, plasmapheresis, thymus protocol. So we have to build the hardest part first. And I believe the hardest part is gene therapies and cell therapies that Alejandro will speak about later. So yeah, here's our team. Anna is here. You're open to discuss whatever question guy you have further. Yeah, of course, what we need more therapies to be part of our pipeline. We look for partners. As I mentioned, we don't want to solve aging by ourselves. Of course, we need to investors to build more therapy, to be able to build more therapies. It will help, and of course, we looking for patients who can come to our locations and get this treatment, because it's very important. It helps us to generate revenues that could be reinvested in the further R&D and keep building this therapy, keep reinvesting, build more therapies, reinvest it, build even more, and so on. And it can also show to our investors that we can generate revenue with our therapies, that there is demand for that. So they invest in us and sponsor our therapies that we build outside of classical regulations. This QR code is for the list of available therapies. It's currently available just one, but you can just see what's more to come. Okay, from here, I'm happy to answer any questions. I hope it was clear. Thank you.
Oh. Thank you. All right, so we're going to take a few questions. Okay, so let's start with Sarah.
Thank you, Ivan.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It was like a dream come true to all humankind, but still I have some questions. Thank you for everything. If somebody had a very strong immune system, if you take the therapy, the T cells doesn't attack the virus, the engineering virus. Mm-hmm. That's one question, and the other one is how your experience, how long the first therapy you did until now, mm-hmm. and is it affect? How do you know how much you put for the telomeres to really stay or mm-hmm. be longer, and it doesn't develop to a cancer? Mm-hmm. How can you control all this? This is like an uncontrolling thing. You know, mm-hmm. you have to be very accurate with everything. It's a genius thing, you know. Mm-hmm. So side effect, of course.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for this question. First of all, it's very important. It's really good. It was two questions, I think, but it's very important that people must understand first, there's no such a thing that's a strong or weak immune system, or stimulated or unstimulated immune system, because some people some people sell supplements to stimulate your immune system, but it's not a good thing. They're just optimal state of your immune system. It's very important, because if your immune system overactive, it leads to autoimmune disease, and it starts start destroying your own body, and people face it. So it's not good to stimulate too much your immune system. And at the same time, it's not that good to understimulate your immune system, because you can get cancers or something like that. So there's only optimal state of immune system, young optimal state. And it's very important to understand, because it's common misconception in the field, because many supplement sellers, they try to sell you supplements to improve. But when I'm asking them, is it a good thing or not? They can't answer this question. It's important to understand first. So getting to the cancer point and the telomeres, we still have, probably we will get to AAV-based HTOR therapy within the next couple years, because it's a tough one from my perspective. We still have it in our pipeline, but we still didn't get it because it requires high dosages. Regarding cancers, I can speak regarding VEGF, for example, that also for cancer, they develop anti-VEGF gene therapies. So to cut the connection with tumors, right? So they build it so they don't get, tumor doesn't get nutrition, so and dies, and they have this anti-VEGF. The same with HTOR, with telomerase. Some treatment in the field was inhibiting telomerase to shorten telomeres of the cells, so they die, the cancer cells. And people look on it from different perspective. Like the first thing that I have in mind in the slide that I showed, that it extended mice lifespan. And HTOR telomerase extended mice lifespan significantly. Telomerase and VEGF, it's one of the best results for lifespan extension on mice that exist. And normally, mice, the number one reason why mice die is cancer. They don't live until cardiovascular disease. They don't die mostly from cognitive decline. They just die from cancer normally. All these mice, like 90–95%. And in this case, if it's extended mice lifespan, so it's made them avoid of getting cancer, and it makes sense because you build these highways for your immune system as well. So your immune system can detect a cancer and fight it, and if it's just if cancer is isolated, like it can't get there and got it, maybe like just because cancer mutation happens like every moment in our body, right? Our immune system just kill it, find it and kill it before it grows. And yeah, so it's the thing to understand. And anyway, we still want to stay maximum careful. First of all, this I can speak on behalf of our therapy. This have 5 years post-clinical data, and people didn't get extra cancers. Like so, they have the same amount cancer between the control and people who got the treatment, but still. We don't go for systemic use of VEGF. Our gene therapy stays local. If we inject it intramuscular, it stays intramuscular. If injected topical, it stays topical. It doesn't get much into bloodstream, so we avoid it. So if we would go for the systemic use, we have to do like early stage cancer detection. So people go for MRI or this type of measurements before they do, like, for example, systemic use of gene therapy. In our case, we just know that it stays local, so it's not a risk. We don't have to measure it. I think I answered all your questions. Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep going with.
How long,
Sarah?
Let's just keep going. There's a lot of other people.
Yeah.
I can answer later after the talk.
Yeah. Can they email to you the questions too?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Jane. Oh.
sorry. I was gonna say, great presentation, Ivan. We have a couple people online asking for the cost of it.
Yeah, the thing is that, yeah, it's a good question, and we, by agreement with our partners, we can't speak it publicly, so you just can come to us and we can tell you, but we can't do it on recordings, unfortunately. Yeah.
Jean here?
That's okay. Okay.
Who else? Sorry?
Thank you. Do you have anything for the gum, for the bone in the gum?
Gum? What is it, gum?
Gum.
Ah! Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I'm not a native speaker. Yeah, so we expect VEGF to be positive for the bones, like for bone density, and follistatin that we develop, it's actually in multiple studies increased bone mass and bone density. So we believe that.
All over, not specific.
It depends. So in our case, VEGF, if we go for systemic, so okay, answer to your question, I don't think that we have something right now that can work for your bones, but I think we'll have in a few months, something like that.
I think Dr. Alexander will talk more about that, right?
Yeah, it's more about stem cells. Stem cells probably it's the case, but I don't know. He should.
Mariana here?
Hi. Ivan, you spoke about doing this therapy when there's degeneration. Is that the only case when you would apply this kind of therapy? You wouldn't do it in prevention or earlier before there's a certain amount of degeneration?
No, of course, I think in my case, I will do it in combination with follistatin, and I will go for my hair as well, but I'm healthy, I don't have this disease. I think it's for prevention, it's a good case. It's the main case why we're doing it for prevention. For disease, it's just a side effect, but it's also very important. I wanted to highlight it, how it's just because it's important for many people. But yeah, I think starting from when you're 25 or 30, I wouldn't go for it, just but from 35, 40-year-old, maybe, yeah. It's good.
All right. Anyone else? We have time for one more.
Go ahead.
All right. And now you're doing it legs and then the hair. Why are you not doing it in other parts of the body, or can it be done in other parts of the body? But
we can do muscle, any part of the body, any muscle, intramuscular injection. So, for example, because legs is the biggest muscle in our body. So like, I don't know, like it's like 80% something like of the muscle mass. So it makes sense to train my legs the first. And when I go to the gym, I just go for legs. Most of the people, they go for biceps, but I don't care about biceps. I care about longevity, so we go for legs. That's why we go for legs in this case, because if we rebuild our muscle here, but it's also like beneficial to go but for some people who it's really like, I don't know, do arm wrestling or whatever, who really take care about the muscle in the arms, it also might work, yeah.
So for the capillary treatment, it's being used in Russia for, I can't remember, over 10 years,
yeah.
10,000 people, to treat conditions.
Yeah.
So is there a different safety profile for preventative than there is for treatment, or do you consider it equivalent?
Yeah. As it has been done for people with diseases, we consider it to be safer. Like it's always like safe benefit ratio that they consider within classical regulation. But in our case, we believe that it's always safer for healthy people because just safer because like people just healthy, yeah. And that's why if it's worked and didn't cause anything with people with disease, I feel myself more comfortable to go for healthy people. Yeah, but it's always like in classical we have to consider benefit risk ratio. It's how it's like. Yeah.
Okay, would it be the right thing to say that a gene therapy then actually can change the gene expression? Is that like if you were born with a certain predisposition for something in your genes, it can actually change that expression? Is that what it also does?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Is that what a gene therapy? Yeah, and then the value of that gene therapy is that it can last longer, possibly indefinitely, compared to a peptide. That's what you're saying? Yeah, we try to go for longevity, and it's kind of universal disease, right? So we try to target the genes that's related to everyone. But originally, all these gene therapies have been built for people with rare diseases, and all this improvement, like not VEGF, but like most of the AAV-based gene therapies, they have been built for spinal muscular dystrophy, like Duchenne, like all this, like some eye disease, rare genetic diseases. I don't remember the names, but it's how it's originally worked for genes and to express it. And so these kids, like I don't know, like 6 months year old kids who was born with this rare disease, they normally lived a couple years, and after they injected this therapy, and it stayed for all their life, so they grew old and stuff like that. There was like really amazing cases with that, so it's long lasting, yeah. Yeah. So was I correct that when I heard that you have right now 2 gene therapies available, and you're working, of course, with other companies to create more, and in 10 years, if I understood it right, you're going to have like up to 100? But right now you have 2, is that correct?
Yeah, now we have just one that you can go today.
That's the capillaries.
Yeah, it's the one that you can go today and get, right?
Okay, that's the one you get today.
Yeah, I think within a couple months we will have maybe more, because we still have to finalize everything. We will have a follistatin, the second one, and we're working to build a couple more, like a clotho and BDNF. That's why I say that next we want to build now 2, 3, but at the end we want to combine multiple, but probably it will be 10 to 15 gene therapies. And all the rest 100 therapies will be other types. It could be cell therapies, it could be like even peptides or some other type of modalities, any type of therapies, all combined. We have to use all the possible tools. We have to not just,
But the gene therapy for capillaries has been well tested, as you said. And have you found then, from what I understood also, that it has kind of cascading effects for muscle, because you get good circulation, then you're going to increase your muscle inner power, et cetera, many other benefits of that overall? Is that right?
Yeah. This is of course, and the
immune system, because you're getting better circulation.
Yeah, we will keep developing it even for immune system and things like that for systemic use. So far we use for local use, but we will keep developing it. So even VEGF gene therapy for capillaries, still some things to do about it.
Yeah. So if someone's interested in getting this gene therapy for capillaries, they contact your company. Is that it? And then they can find out all the details like price, everything.
Yeah, sure. Just what this.
Yeah. Okay. Is that through that app you actually had up on the screen?
Yeah, QR code. Yeah, you can use it. Yeah, or unlimited.bio, and everything is there.
Okay. Thank you very much. Great presentation.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you.